guys, welcome back to another video. So in the last video I was pretty much just giving you an update on what was happening with my car. So in this video I'll be starting to tune my car. I've just brought a Accessport. So yeah, I brought this little COBB Accessport. It's currently installed on the car at the moment, but it's just a tuning device that allows my tuner up in Auckland, because he's an authorised COBB tuner, and it allows him to basically tune my car sort of remotely in a way. So what happens is with my COBB Accessport, it plugs into my OBD2 port in the car. Then I've just got it mounted sort of sitting next to my stereo. My tuner sends me my map file. I download the map file, plug it into the Accessport, and then it basically remaps my factory ECU to the new tune. And then I can just push the little middle button on the Accessport, and that does data logging. So my tuner will tell me what he wants me to do. So in this instance, he told me to do from 3,500 RPM to 6,500 RPM in third gear, and record data logs that one section. So I did that and sent that off to him. So I downloaded the data logging file onto my computer, and then I emailed that to my tuner up in Auckland, and then he can modify my tune and then resend it back to me, and then we just go like that, keep going back and forward until the car's fully tuned. So it will take a little time to get tuned, but that's the best I can sort of do, because obviously I can't get up to Auckland at the moment due to COVID. So yeah, this was the next best option. Yeah, so this here is my COBB Accessport. So obviously I've just wired it up, and the wire is just sort of sitting on the dash at the moment and plugs into my OBD port. But I will sort that out properly, and I'll tuck the wire in behind the dash and bring it out underneath the steering column, just to make it look tidier and just so it's not messy. But as you can see here, it's double-sided tape to the dash, and it's pretty firm. And then I can just lift it out if I want to and unplug it. So yeah, it's just turning on now, Accessport. And I've actually put it on a custom image on the start there. But yeah, so it actually gives me live data. So if I start my car up now, it gives me live data. So when I rev it, it adjusts all the readings. So when I started tuning my car for the first time with this Accessport, I sent my couple logs off to my tuner for him to read and for him to modify the tune, and he noticed that my car is boost spiking. My boost level should be about 12 to 14 psi, and it's currently hitting like 18. The car's boost spiking, and he's told me that the wastegate isn't actually opening, which is a bit of a problem, because obviously I don't really want that to boost spike and obviously block the turbo or the motor or anything, because it's going to have too much boost through it. So I need to sort that out. Also, the car is running really rich. Like my AFRs at idle are like 14, which is fine, but then under load, under boost, my AFRs go down to like 8.6, which is really low. Like it should be up around the 11s sort of mark. He thinks that I've got like a bit of a boost leak in the car somewhere, so I need to basically smoke test all my intercooler piping and intake and all that, just to see if there's any leaks anywhere. Yeah, so today's video I'll just be working on my car, just sorting a couple of little teething issues relating to when I was trying to tune my car. Obviously, first thing is my wastegate's not opening, and the car's running really rich. So yeah, I need to sort those out before I can carry on tuning my car. So once I sort out these couple of issues on my car, well, then I'll be able to start sending some more data logs to my tuner, and he will be able to modify my map, resend me a new tune, and then I'll be able to increase the timing, increase the boost, and start making some more power out of this car, because at the moment it's just running a stock bass tune. He's pretty much done it as like my running in tune for my motor, so it's not meant to be that much power or anything. So once I sort out these couple of teething issues, well, then yeah, we'll be able to start properly tuning the car and making some more power. So last weekend I have actually chucked the car up in the hoist. I didn't know what the spring pressure was inside the internal gate when the guy rebuilt the turbo. He obviously supplied and fitted the wastegate, but he couldn't remember what spring pressure was in it. So I pulled the wastegate off last weekend and pulled it all apart, just to have a look and see what spring pressure it was. It's got 12 psi worth of spring pressure inside the wastegate, which my tuner said is fine. But yeah, the wastegate's still not opening. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to sort out the wastegate issue first, to try and get the wastegate to open up, when it hits about 12-14 pounds of boost, and then I'll worry about the AFRs. So originally, because obviously my wastegate is down the back there, the main port that goes to my 3-port boost control solenoid, the main feed in, I actually had it coming between the intake manifold and the blow-off valve. I had it teed into this line here, which is at the end of the loop of all the boosted air. So it's got to go through the top pipes, through the intercooler, back around, and then into the intake manifold. Then that will send in that data through to the 3-port boost control solenoid. So that was part of my issue. I had the 3-port boost control solenoid wired up wrong. So I pulled the T out, and I've plugged that middle port on my 3-port boost control solenoid now directly into the turbo. So as soon as the turbo is starting to spill, it's sending that data automatically to the 3-port boost control solenoid. So I did that, and that actually helped to some degree. It made my boost levels come down by like 1.5 pounds. So it's still hitting about 16.5, 17 pounds of boost, which is still high. So what I'm going to do now is going to chuck the car up on the hoist. Got to put it on blocks, on these blocks over here, because the car's so low. It's a pain, but it's what I've got to do. Put the car up on the hoist, and then I can have a look at the preload on the actuator that goes to the flap on the turbo. It might have a bit too much preload on there, so it's not letting the wastegate do its thing properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up and then just undo the actuator and just wind it off like half a turn or a turn, and then put it back on, and then I'll take it for a drive and see if that helps my boost levels. But obviously I don't want to take the preload off completely and have it that the flap on the turbo is actually open. So I've got to make sure that the flap is still closed, but not closed with enough preload. So I was going to turn the back of that off at a turn, and then take it for a drive, and I'll be able to see all my live data from my Accessport. They'll be able to tell me exactly what's going on. If it gets between 12 and 14 psi, well then I'm going to be happy. If it's not, well then I might have to look into things further. Maybe do I pull another spring out of the wastegate, or do I put another spring in? Do I make it heavier? Do I make it softer? There's a lot of things I need to sort of look into, investigate, and see what to do a bit of research on, and go from there. But to start off with, yeah, I'm just going to back off that preload and go from there. So I've just got the car up here on the hoist. So I'm just going to have a look at the preload on the wastegate actuator. But also, if you look here, so here's my dual catch can setup. So this one here is for the PCV valve, and this one here is for the rocker cover. And then it's got these quick release bungs on it, so you can just quickly turn the tap. You turn the tap, and then if anything's in it, it comes out. I've got a bit of grease spitting out from the CV boot, so I've got to sort that out, which is something really minor. Also, when I go over a couple little bumps, I have a bit of a knocking noise, and I've diagnosed that as my sway bar mount bushes. Yeah, so there's my sway bar mount bushes down at the back there. Both sides you can't really see, but yeah, so the sway bar mount bushes have got a bit of play in them, so I need to sort that out. Also, I've got a bit of an oil leak, as you can see under here. It's all a bit of oil running down, and it's all starting from up by the PCV area. So I can't fully see exactly what's going on up there, but it's leaking from around the PCV, around the plate, or around somewhere up there. I'm not entirely sure. So I need to pull my intake manifold off at some stage when I get a moment, and have a look at that PCV plate. Maybe I didn't tighten the bolts properly, or maybe the seal didn't take properly. Have a look at that, and then sort out the oil leak, and then I can just degrease all this oil residue down and clean it all up so nice and fresh again, so it's nice and clean, just so I don't have any oil leaks. Still need to replace my drive belt, because when I was putting my new motor in, I did get a new drive belt, but they supplied me the wrong one, and obviously went into lockdown and I couldn't get a new drive belt, so I've had to put the old one back on. So yeah, I just need to go to a parts place and buy a new belt, chuck that on. It's easy enough to do. But yeah, other than that, the car's going good. If you look up in here, so there's obviously my turbo, downpipe, there's my wastegate, and then I've got the little rod. So what I'm going to do is undo that little circlip on there, and then turn that rod, pull that rod off, and then I'll be able to turn it a couple of turns, one turn, and then put it back on, put the circlip on, and then I'll take that for a drive and see how that goes. And hopefully one turn's enough. I might have to chuck it up again and do 2 turns, but yeah, I don't want to go too much more than that because otherwise it's not going to have much preload on it. So yeah, I'll start off one turn and do that now, but because I've just driven the car here and sort of parked up on the hoist, yeah, it's still a bit warm up there, so I've got to be careful I don't burn myself on the downpipe or on the turbo or anything. So but yeah, I'll crack into that now and pull that off. So I've got this tiny little clip thing off, so that's obviously to hold the rod onto the turbo for the actuator. So I've got to pull, yes, I've pulled that off, so I've got to make sure I don't lose that. And then I'm also going to pull that rod out, back it off one turn, and then put it back on. So yeah, I've just pulled that part off, and then it's a bit hard to see, but that there is the flap for the turbo. So that's what that rod, when it gets boost pressure, it pushes that little rod back and forward. So now I just need to turn this anti-clockwise one turn to make this longer, make the rod longer, and then put it back onto that little tab, and then put that little clip back on, and then the car should be good. Take it for a test drive and see how that boost level is like. Before I did this, it was about 16.5 to 17, so it'd be interesting to see what it is after this. I need to try and get it down to between 12 and 14 if possible, so might have to do this a couple of times, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, it's as simple as that. So I've just put that back on, and now it's going to tighten up this little nut there, and then yeah, put that little clip back on, and well, away we go. So that was a nice simple job to do. So yeah, I've turned it off one complete turn on the turbo wastegate actuator. So yeah, the car's off the hoist now, I've got it running. I'm just going to jump in now and take it for a quick drive. So as you can see here, my boost levels, it's giving me my highest and lowest. So at the moment it's running a 9.41, negative 9.41 boost. So I will take it for a quick drive now, come back and see what it comes back as, and that there should be a lot lower, that figure there. So we'll show you again shortly. So I just got back from doing a quick test drive. As you can see, I'm still hitting 16.77 pounds of boost. Actually my AFR is 8.67, which is very low. So yeah, so that's all the live data. So I actually did a log. So to do a log, you just push this middle button here, it starts data logging, and you push it again to stop it. So now I will turn the car off, take the Accessport out, plug it into the computer, and then I can actually go through and actually have a look at all the data, like line by line, and sort of see exactly how much pounds of boost it is at what RPM and all that, and see if that's made a big bit of a difference, and go from there. So yeah, so let's turn it off, and then yeah, it should turn off automatically by itself. Yeah, so obviously it stops reading, it's going to turn off by itself. Try and connect to the vehicle. Notice that the car's been turned off, and then it shuts down, and then I can just unplug it from here, pull that out, and then that whole device comes out. I've got a little USB cable here that plugs into the side of it there, and then I just plug that into the computer, and that will give me my information. So then I just plug the Accessport into the computer. I've got this Accessport manager, and it's got all my data files, and it's obviously got my maps. So yeah, so I'll just grab my data log, it'll be the last one because I just did the last one, copy that to the computer, and then I'll have a look and see what's going on. Opens it up in an Excel document, and then yeah, it's got all these lines and lines and lines and lines and lines of data. So yeah, so you've got like obviously your time, AFRs, boost air, all this other stuff, knock, MAF, RPM, throttle, vehicle speed, wastegate. So there's a whole lot of data that's in there, so I'll have a look at this, and I'll also send this log off to the tuner just to see if he thinks it's any better, and go from there. Yeah, from what I can see, and from what I can see on the max boost values, it's still boosting at 16.7, which is higher than it should be. It should be between 12 and 14 psi. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Obviously, we wanted to preload off like one turn. Maybe I could try another turn and try that. But I was going to send this off to the tuner, see what he sort of reckons. See what he could do. Maybe it's in the spring and in the wastegate, do I take a spring out, do I add a spring? That's a whole lot of things. I don't really know much about wastegates and all that, so it's a bit new to me on how all that stuff works. Not entirely sure if changing any of those things is going to make a difference or not, but yeah, we'll have a look and see and go from there. So yeah, it's pretty much going to wrap up today. I'll be back tomorrow. Obviously it's like 6:30 and I was only down here for an hour or so, a couple of hours, but yeah, I just want to go home now and relax, and I'll come back tomorrow and I'll carry on having a look at these at this wastegate and have a look at my air leaks because my AFRs are too low, so I'll have a look at that as well tomorrow. See you tomorrow.